You said on tariffs that you'd like them to be reciprocal back and forth. What was the reception from the Japanese Prime Minister when you said that, or when you talked about it?
Well, we didn't discuss tariffs too much. We really discussed many other things, including the pipeline in Alaska, which I think is going to be maybe the most exciting thing with Doug, Chris. We discussed that at length, the pipeline. I mean, it seemed to be of great interest.
I said pipeline a lot, and he seemed to nod a lot, and I said pipeline. And he's like, do you understand when I say pipeline? Pipeline? Mm-hmm. You understand pipeline? Pipeline. I said pipeline.
To them. It's, we have potentially more oil and gas than in Saudi Arabia, just in Alaska. We have the most.
Yeah, it's because Saudi Arabia is running out, stupid.
Any country in the world. It's a big asset for the United States, but we haven't used it. We go to Venezuela, we go to other places to take.
No, we don't.
Oil and gas, and we have.
No, we don't.
More than anybody. It's an amazing phenomenon that took place over the last 4 years. Nobody understands.
No, it didn't. Oil production in the United States went up. It's almost at max capacity. You're going to have to force the oil companies to produce more here, stupid.
Including the people that were in charge of it. They had no clue what they were doing. So it was a big problem. They were surprised, actually, too. They were saying, why didn't they wouldn't sell them LNG. They wouldn't sell it. Japan wanted to buy LNG, and Biden wouldn't sell it. And I'm trying to figure that one out.
How about this? How about Biden doesn't sell LNG? Maybe they were prioritizing it to Europe to transition them away from Russia at the time, so they had a limited amount of it in the beginning, and then they transitioned away?
Maybe it was the environment. You might answer that question. He's curious about that himself, I think. Thank you.
Apparently not.
Thank you very much. If you want to answer that, you may, about LNG, that the United States wouldn't sell you LNG.
That was a really unfortunate thing, but the current administration, the previous administration was not allowing the LNG to be exported to us. I believe that President Trump, on the day of his inauguration, allowed us to resume this importing. I think this is something that is really wonderful for us. And as the country of Japan, we are interested in importing not just LNG, but also bioethanol, ammonia, and other resources at a stable price, a reasonable price from the United States. And we also want to improve the trade deficit that the U.S. has towards Japan. So if we are able to buy those at a stable and reasonable price,
then we don't have to take your cars. We'll take the stuff we need, and then the stuff you make. Hey, asshole! Do you think Trump realizes that selling oil and gas is how you get people around the trade deficit? Make it more proportional. They can say they made progress on it when they're just buying shit that you're pulling out of the ground. It's not stuff that's being manufactured in the United States or made here.
I think it would be a wonderful situation. And for that, I am very appreciative to President Trump. And we also look forward to LNG and hope that it's a success.
I want to just say that on the ethanol, Iowa is going to be very happy. All of the Nebraska, all of our farm states are going to be very happy. They want ethanol, and we'll be able to provide it. So our farmers, who I like and they like me,
because I pay them off.
I think they're going to be very, very happy. We've opened.
I'm the Xi Jinping of farmers.
The sale of LNG immediately. Actually, we did it a few days ago, and China right now. Not only China, everybody wants to buy it. We have more than anybody, and they're all buying it. But Japan, in particular, we're very happy that they're going to start immediately, and we can supply it to the world. But we're supplying it to Japan, and they're going to always be right up in the front of the line. Yeah, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Mr. Prime Minister, I have a question for you as well, but Mr. President, I'll start with you. Quickly, to follow up on what Peter was asking, have you directed Elon Musk to review Pentagon spending, given it's the biggest discretionary spending in the federal budget?
Yes, I have Pentagon, education, just about everything. We're going to go through everything, just as it was so bad with what we just went through with this horrible situation we just went through. And I guess
What do you mean? Your last trip to the bathroom?
97% of the people have been dismissed. It was very, very unfortunate. You're not going to find anything like that, but you're going to find a lot. And
No.
I've instructed him to go check out education, to check out the Pentagon, which is the military. And,
Is it? Is it though? Somebody look that up. Is the Pentagon the military, or is the military the Pentagon? I always get those mixed up.
you'll find some things that are pretty bad, but I don't think proportionally you're going to see anything like we just saw.
FBI has turned over a list to the Justice Department of the FBI agents who worked on the January 6 rioters cases. Are you planning to fire the FBI agents who worked on those investigations?
No, but I'll fire some of them because some of them were corrupt. I have no doubt about that.
Based on what?
I got to know a lot about that business, that world. I got
That world? I'm sorry, the world of a rioter that takes a shit in the rotunda?
to know.
I mean, look, to be completely fair, he has a lot of parallels between himself and the Jan 6 rioters. I mean, you guys saw his speech at the prayer breakfast. I would argue that was the verbal equivalent of taking a shit in the rotunda. You know, he basically dropped a deuce by another
a
name.
lot about that world, that we had some corrupt agents, and those people are gone, or they will be gone, and it'll be done quickly and very surgically.
Surgically, yeah. That's why you're asking, hundreds of people to step down or leave their posts and that kind of stuff very surgically. This is, by the way, notice that the use of that word isn't an accident, because he's getting a bunch of pushback from Republicans about kind of the slapdash nature of how Musk is handling this shit. I'm sorry.
Do you have a question for the Prime Minister?
No, not really.
Talk up.
Talk up? You mean speak up?
I don't know. I know that we have some that are very corrupt and we don't like it. We're going to bring back the reputation of the FBI. Kash Patel is going to do a great job, and we're going to bring back the reputation
I don't know. Didn't they punt his vote?
of the FBI, which has been hurt very badly. It's been devastated over the last 4 years.
Yeah, by you discrediting them, not because of their actions.
You have just been meeting for the first time with President Trump. The last administration famously did not have hardly any, if at all, contact with North Korea. President Trump certainly did the last time he was in office. Would you like to see him resume that contact and also that in-person meeting that he had with the North Korean leader, Kim Jong-un?
Not really.
That is
That's
something
touchy.
that the United States needs to determine on its own,
Yeah, that's a no.
and it's not
Sorry.
something that we should request. Having said that, but for example, in Vietnam or Singapore, the President of the United States, President Trump, was able to meet with Kim Jong-un. I think that's a very positive development. So now that President Trump is in power again, if we are able to move towards resolving issues with the North Korea, I think it would be great. And of course, for us, that includes.
Yeah, if that's what would result with the talks, like that's the issue you have, is that does not mean it's going to help. Like, just because he meets with him again doesn't, I mean, it didn't work last time.
It's not only denuclearization, but also resolving the abductee issue. And so not only the victims of the abductees, but also their families too are aging. And so our time is limited. So if the President of the United States, if President Trump is able to resolve this issue, we do understand that it's a Japan issue first and foremost. Having said that, we would love to continue to cooperate with them.
It's actually a good question, and we will have relations with North Korea and with Kim Jong-un. I got along with him very well,
Really? Who's on top? He is.
as you know. I think I stopped the war. I think if I wouldn't have won that particular election, you would have ended up in a very bad situation. But I did, and we had a good relationship, and I think it's a very big asset for everybody that I do get along with him. I get along with him, he gets along with me, and that's a good thing, not a bad thing. And I can tell you that Japan...
And by the way, this is muscle memory from his last his last administration. The shit that Kim Jong-un has said since, and he never stopped making missiles, so it was all a wash.
Likes the idea.
But the stuff that Kim Jong-un said during, over the last 4 years about him, he's like, yeah, it's a bunch of bullshit.
Their relationship is not very good with him. And if I can have a relationship with not only him, but other people throughout the world where there seem to be difficulties, I think that's a tremendous...
Seem to be difficulties with North Korea? I don't know.
Tremendous asset for...
Seem to be. All right.
For the world, not just the United States. Go ahead.
I have a question for you and for the Prime Minister as well. Mr. President, I wonder what you make of the criticism from Democrats that these staff reductions, the cuts that Elon Musk and DOGE are doing are an unlawful power grab. And is there anything you've told Elon Musk he cannot touch?
Well, we haven't discussed that much.
Yeah, I don't even know what stuff exists.
Tell him to go here, go there. He does it. He's got a very capable group of people. Very capable. They know what they're doing.
I don't know. It sounds like old guy doesn't understand tech talk, and they can just fucking smooth, I don't know if it's schmoozing. They can BS you with a lot of techno jargon.
Ask questions, and they'll see immediately as somebody gets tongue-tied that they're either crooked or don't know what they're doing.
Or they're not used to explaining to people who are that fucking stupid on their doorstep.
We have very smart people going in, so I've instructed him go into education, go into military, go into other things as we go along, and they're finding massive amounts of fraud, abuse.
No, they're not. Sorry, man. In a $7 trillion budget, finding a couple $100 million worth of stuff, less than a couple billion, isn't going to do shit. It's not massive at all. It's massive to me and people who own a house and shit like that, but it's not massive in terms of the budget. It just points to the fact that this was all a lie, that a lot of these problems are going to magically go away because they didn't exist in the first place.
Waste, all of these things. So, but I will pick out a target and I say go in. There could be areas that we won't, but I think everything's fertile. We're a government. We have to be open. And as an open government, I don't know, I guess you could say maybe some high intelligence or something.
Maybe. Probably not. Yeah, maybe. Well, no. It's high intelligence.
And I'll do that myself if I have to. But
oh, great. If I get Trump with a fucking visor on and an old-fashioned hack, 7,000, transgender monkey, Pentagon secret budget, hack, ticka.
Generally speaking, I'll just say go. But he will be looking at education pretty quickly, and he will be looking at military too.
As you know, the bulk of federal spending is Social Security, Medicare, programs like that. Would you like to see him look at those programs as well?
Well, they don't really have to be looked at by him. They can be looked at by us. Social Security will not be touched. It'll only be strengthened. We have illegal immigrants on Social Security, and we're going to find out who they are and take them out.
No, you don't. Illegal immigrants pay into it and don't get anything back, stupid.
We have illegal immigrants and other Medicare. We found a lot of bad people, a lot of people that shouldn't be on, that were put on.
No, you haven't. No, you haven't. First of all, he hasn't looked yet. You haven't looked yet. You're making it up. No, you haven't.
Through California, a lot of them come out of California. We're not going to stand for that. So we're going to strengthen our
they're called Californians. They're U.S. citizens.
Social Security, etc. We're not going to touch it other than to make it stronger. But we have people that shouldn't be on, and those.
How would you real quick? That's a great question. Thank you. How are you going to make it stronger? What would you do to make it stronger? Obviously, there's no evidence that that illegal immigrants are taking money out of Social Security, just that they're putting it in and not being able to receive it. Because if they're operating under a fake Social Security number or something like that, they're not getting those funds, and certainly not on a scale that would change tip the balance of a $7 trillion budget or a $2 trillion deficit. We're talking at best a few $1 million over the entire, a third, 3/4 of the federal budget. So how would you make it stronger? Anybody? Oh, yeah. Well, Doug, you're actually giving real reasons. Doug's lift the income cap. Yeah. You think he's going to do that? No.
People we have to weed out, most of them or many of them so far have been illegal immigrants. They shouldn't even be in the country. Do you have
No, they haven't.
a question for the Prime Minister?
Yes, ask him about what it's like to be in a racially homogenous country and they don't have this issue with immigration because no one expects them to take anybody in because they're only one race that can be citizens in that. Okay, too much?
Mr. Prime Minister, the president's affinity for tariffs is well known.
All right, blah, 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 blah. Hold on.
Very good answer. Wow. That's a very good answer. Very good answer. Wow. That's very good. He knows what he's doing.
Hold on. Let's see what he said.
If the U.S. places tariffs on Japanese imports, would Japan retaliate?
I am unable to respond to a theoretical question. That's the official answer that we have.
That's a very good answer. Very good answer. Wow. That's very good. He knows what he's doing. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Oh, God.
Thank you.
Lumber, lumber, lumber. Well, I kept you late. It's Friday. I can do that sometimes. But I wanted to, we showed you a few things. Instead of going to the sort of right-wing media around stuff, because quite frankly, most of them are boring as fuck right now, we go to the actual legislative stuff that's happening right now. And if you'll notice, a big bunch of it is busy work, where they're talking themselves into a fucking fit, but not actually doing anything. The big point of concern, obviously, is Musk and his minions running around the DOGE bags, running around and possibly getting access to things that are unsecure because of their presence. And again, all of that is illegal. They are, if they have not been sworn in or they have not earned that clearance, there will be legal ramifications later, no matter what Trump does. He can pardon them after the fact, but that doesn't stop them from going through the process. Now, whether or not, whether it's the state of California or the state of New York or any of the other big pay-ins suing on behalf of their constituents for, violations of privacy and that kind of stuff on an individual level that might have more impact than trying to get Trump's DOJ to throw these assholes in jail. It might just be best to, FOIA and then follow that up with, if they're not going to tell us, we're going to sue because we're going to assume you guys have gotten access to the private data of Californians or New York citizens, and we're going to you're either going to fess up, and if you don't, we're going to actually sue you as an individual, a member of the DOGE committee, because they're not actually a department. They're not actually federal employees. So much love to you guys. See you later. See you in the morning for radio, Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide, tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time, and I'll see you then. And I got work to do. I got so much work to do. It never ends. Thank God. All right. Oh, and I always have to. I gotta add one of these titles to the thing, and maybe if I found a way that I could rotate it, that'd be cool. All right, love you guys. Hit that like, share the show.